Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Friday edition of Coffee with Cramer and Colleen. I'm Don Cramer with the Cramer Group at Urban Nest Realty. My partner, as you know, she's out and about doing that real estate thing, allowing me to shoot this great video where we're able to bring to you information about the Las Vegas real estate market, community news, and lifestyle information. And back by ever popular demand is the renowned, the indefatigable John Curtas. John is, and even though I've got a little typo here on the old screen, but John is the uh, writer of one of the great publications and blog posts, Eating Las Vegas. And I'm holding the 2019 edition, but John, I think you've got a little more recent version, the 2020.
Yeah, which immediately became obsolete in the end of March 2020. It had a great 4-month run. Okay.
Talk about 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah, that was it. Well, that was our 8th edition. We may still do another edition. Probably not this year. There will not be a 2021 Eating Las Vegas. There may be a 2022 one after a year from now. But right now, we're giving it a rest because, I mean, a lot of us just need a rest. And we don't need to be criticizing anybody these days, or we just are trying to promote everybody we can and hope they get through this trying time.
Absolutely. And John, I mean, we're what about we're past 6 months into this whole pandemic thing, and you and I we've shot some videos. We've been out there and about, had you on. I think it's time to kind of give us a little state of the restaurant situation here in town. What's going on?
State of the Union restaurant division, right?
Exactly.
Okay. That's a good question, Don, because I like to say that I think I'm in restaurants more than anybody, any consumer in Las Vegas, or certainly have been for decades now.
Yep.
And so I've been in a lot of places, a lot of favorites. And, I've noticed there's been a malaise that has been hanging over a lot of them over the past few months because, they have restricted numbers of seats. The bars can't open. There's a certain defensiveness by the wait staff and the owners and the customers. I mean, and it's very weird that this aura or this veil of depression and anxiety that sort of permeated people going out. And there's nothing more sociable than restaurants. And that sociability has been blunted by this COVID crisis. So I've looked at it in depth over the last few months, and I found just a sense of anxiety that is there with the wait staff and diners alike. I like to tell people, if you're anxious about going out to eat, don't go out to eat. Don't go out to eat and then give people a hard time, especially the owners and the waiters, who are they're just trying to make a buck. And it's been very hard for them. I mean, you have restaurants operating at 50% capacity. Their liquor sales are way down. None of these restaurants, the wine restaurants, the fancy ones I go to, they haven't bought any new booze or any new wine forever because they're just using up the stocks they have until they get up and running again. And this has hurt our wine wholesalers and retailers as well. And it hurts the guys who produce them and sell them tomatoes too. So it's been very depressing. But I'm going to give a bit of a bit of good news.
Is there a
I
little sunshine in
sense
this matter?
what
Is there a little ray of sunshine?
there is a ray of sunshine, and I've just noticed, and it doesn't have to do with the governor opening bars tomorrow night or whatever they're doing. It has to do with it. Just seems like people are going out more, and I've really seen it a lot more in the last month. A lot of places are busier, as busy as they can be at 50% capacity. But I'm going to places as diverse as Ferraro's, our classic and great Italian restaurant, Esther's Kitchen downtown, Lotus of Siam reopened, and even on the Strip, places like Delmonico, a favorite of yours,
Yep.
and the places that are open, Mateo's in the Venetian, Elio, which is a new place, new Spanish Mexican modern Mexican restaurant in the Wynn. These places are busy at night. Now, they will tell you, every owner and maitre d' I've talked to will say, we're only busy like Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. You know, back in the convention, in the rah-rah convention days, these places were humming
Right.
5 to 6 nights a week. Now they're doing 2 to 3 nights of good business. So yes, they're busy on those nights, but we still have a long way to go.
So basically, because of either the local support or drive-in crowd from California, it's really the weekend traffic where they're seeing activity, and due to the lack of conventioneers and such, they're not filling out the rest of the week at this time.
Exactly. And Gino Ferraro, you know, who's run, you know, the Ferraros here in town since 1985, he told me, he said, you know, we cannot survive in the long run without the conventions. Not his restaurant and not the restaurants in the Bellagio or the MGM. I mean, none of them can. And he's spot on. In the meantime, though, I think local restaurants, and Ferraro's also gets a pretty rabid local crowd that's been going there since the 80s. And a lot of these local places like Manzu, you know, one of your favorites, you know, Marche Bacchus, you said you were just there. These places, the locals are really getting out and supporting their local restaurants more than I think, with a greater fervor maybe than they even were doing a year ago. The difference, of course, is locals, like, because we live here, people don't go out on Monday and Tuesday nights. Well, they go out on Thursday and Friday and Saturday nights. So even our local places that are busy are having to make do with less customers and less revenue.
Yep, absolutely. Well, hopefully, too, like you said, we have good news. It looks like the bars, even in Clark County, will be opening. So hopefully that's a trend where they will be able to add capacity back into some of these restaurants.
And profit. I mean, people don't recognize, you know, it's not just about video poker bars here.
Right.
It's about, and a lot of people think of it that way, or just shot in the beer places. No, this is about bars are necessary to restaurants as revenue producers. The cocktails they serve either at the bar or, you know, from the bar to the tables are major revenue streams for this place. Even in a wine-centric place like Manzu or Ferraro's too. Certainly a place like Lotus of Siam, or small downtown places like Carson Kitchen. These places need their cocktail bars open because this is how they make revenue. People like to drink when people don't go out to just sit at a table. They go out to socialize, and there's nothing more convivial than sharing liquor. Let's face it.
Absolutely, because like you said, that is the revenue driver that probably makes or breaks the business.
Yeah, it does. I mean, other than that, I mean, the margins on food are razor thin, but it's in the beer and wine and cocktails where that's the profit that allows, you know, that allows everyone from the dishwasher to the owner to go home with some real cash in their pocket.
Well, John, I noticed this too. So last week, you and I, we were out with some friends and colleagues. It was a Wednesday night, and one thing I always like to do is, like, what's the parking lots look like? And we went to Partage. Good luck finding a parking spot.
But Partage was busy.
Partage was busy.
And well, Partage is a great restaurant in a very central location, in a great location that's also the worst location in town. Because, I mean, the parking lot, they have 20 cars and no one knows how to get there. It's actually a restaurant made for Uber and Lyft. That's what it's made to do. It's not made for people to drive there. They're almost insisting that you take an Uber or a Lyft to their restaurant before you eat there. Because that's the only way unless you want to park a quarter mile, half a mile away.
Right, yeah. And so it's a good sign to see, like you said, the activity's coming out. But also, too, we're seeing new restaurants spin up. So what's actually hit the ground running new here in this crazy times?
Well, let's look at that for a minute. The new restaurants. I mean, against all odds. I mean, I can't believe these people are taking the plunge. A lot of these places were already on the drawing board, so they have to push forward. But I think the demand's going to be there. I mean, downtown we have 3 places within a stone's throw of each other that are supposed to open within the next month. There's a You or Me sushi and sake bar across from Esther's Kitchen. There's a pizza place, Good Pie, which I think is my favorite pizza in town.
Okay.
And then right next door to that, Main Street Provisions, which is sort of a modern American bistro kind of place. And a new brewery brew pub just opened 2 blocks down on Main Street downtown. So that's to me, that is that gives me hope, and as well as just a couple blocks north, Letitia's. People might remember Letitia's. Used to be way up in Centennial Hills. Well, she's kind of downsized, and now she's opened Letty's at the old El Sombrero space.
Okay.
It opened just a few weeks ago. I've been there twice, and the food is fantastic. Best tacos downtown by a mile.
Nice. We'll have to go down there and check out Letty's. Also, too, we've talked to some chefs that have projects in the works. They are, they're getting ramped back up.
What do you hear? I got to hear what you see. I try to keep my ear close to the ground, but I need stringers like you, Don Cramer.
Well,
I can only go so many places.
The talk about the Brio that shut down at Tivoli.
Yeah.
That looks like that's going to be repurposed by a local chef.
Right. That's supposed to be I guess that's James Trees is supposed to get out there, and they Ada's kind of shut down, but they're going to do something like Ada Lic over there at the old Brio.
I think that's
good luck
a better position for them because it's more obvious as a restaurant.
Yeah, but Tivoli Village is tough. I mean, Tivoli Village is a tough market there. I mean, it just. I don't know. It just seems it has bad juju. I don't know why, but it just seems.
One thing, and this is the one that cracked me up about Tivoli, because I look at it and see the one place that continues to survive and thrive and have people in there is that little Leone Cafe.
Yeah,
there's a line,
and and all the I don't want to put the place down. I mean, it's decent cappuccino or coffee, but it's if you're a coffee snob, right. Believe me, you're not going to Cafe Leone. No. They don't do any of their own baking. They just have a truck pull up every morning and just unload a bunch of food. So it's it's basically like supermarket quality pastries. But the atmosphere.
The atmosphere, because it reminds me a little slice of Southern Europe.
Yes, it does.
And,
yeah, and
when I
God bless them. Yeah,
that in the layout, I would honestly think if you took like a Corey's or you took like a middle Mediterranean type of restaurant and parked it nearby with an alfresco dining, it's like, okay, you kind of build upon that kind of concept.
Right. Well, you should, but the Tivoli Village just has trouble getting foot traffic in it anyway. Yeah. But you're right. That little cafe gets it. That place I don't really care for, Echo and Rig. I mean, they're busy. They do it with pricing though. They just kind of underprice a lot their food, and I will say no more. But they also have no corkage charge there. So that a couple of places do well there, but it's been just a revolving door of restaurants otherwise. So I always get nervous when I hear someone say the words Tivoli Village, because I've seen too many failures.
It's one
there.
of those you just kind of go with that.
Exactly. There you go. And go. Best of luck, my child.
Exactly. Well, also too, Nicole Brisson, she's been helping out over and consulting at Manzu, and looks like she's got some opportunities underway.
And yes, she's got something in the works. I'll just announce it. I don't know if anybody. She hasn't announced it, but she didn't tell me I couldn't. So she's gonna be going into the new resorts world. She has a new concept, an Italian concept, going into the resorts world. So that's but I think she's going to also be opening a locals place. So she has a lot of irons in the fire right now. But the resorts world isn't slated to open for, what is it, Don? 6 months or so at least, right?
I believe so, yeah. I mean,
even almost like a year from now. Could be 9 months or so from now. So, but she's going to be devoting a lot of time to that. But she has a local concept that she's working on, and she's working with Gio Moro at Manzu. I mean, you've been there. I mean, this place is booming. You go there on weeknights. I mean, he's got a full crowd there. As long as he doesn't let anybody sing to the governor, he's in good shape. Okay.
I know. How many texts did you receive saying, so you were hanging with the governor?
Yeah.
Because it was the next night.
I mean, we have empowered. I know this doesn't endear me to people, but we have empowered the health Gestapo to go around and just shame people and virtue shame people and act like complete jerks trying to hurt businesses for just doing the best they can. It's been a real black eye, I think, for American society that we're going to live with for a long time. But I tell you, one thing I've learned from all of this, you now know among all your friends and neighbors who, if you were in 1944 Amsterdam, you know just who would be pointing to the house next door saying, that's where the Jews are, okay? This has been good for nothing else. It's identified who those people are, okay?
Well,
so I'm glad I'm glad they showed themselves and crawled out from their rocks and showed me their true colors.
Well, John,
because there's a lot of them.
As Al Pacino said in Scent of a Woman, but not a snitch.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. The idea that people will go to restaurants and see a mask that's not on correctly and not just say something to somebody there, right to OSHA, right to Clark County Business Licensing or City of Las Vegas, saying you need to penalize these people. I mean, who do these people think they are? I mean, they're like, it's not like people are going around consciously giving each other polio, okay? But they pretend that that's how severe it is, and it's just, don't get me started, Don Cramer. You know how I get on.
Well, we're gonna slightly ease off topic.
Okay, let's get away from this.
So, please, John, okay, so we've got glimmers of light. The downtrend is we're going to kick this, and there's been a toll on the industry, but as I was talking to somebody else, I said, from a business standpoint, whether it's by job, class, ethnicity, restaurants pop up. They restart.
They are. Yeah, they are.
Their ability to rebirth versus retail versus other things.
Yes.
A man and a woman and a kitchen, the worst case is that's what they will go to.
Yeah, because eating is the one thing we all do. Eating and sleeping is the one thing we all do. Yeah. See, are the two things we have to do. I mean, sex you could put in there too, but you don't have the species need sex to survive, right. But individually, as most married men can tell you, we don't need that much sex to survive.
But we need food.
Well, we need food every day, probably about twice a day minimum.
So while and I know you've talked about it, and I think it's like you said, maybe the 2022 edition. It is going to be interesting to see who the newcomers are.
Yeah. But I think we're going to have a very robust local bounce back. I do. And I think the strip, I wrote this the other day, the strip are like giant beached whales right now. Okay. Yeah. These giant behemoth 5,000, 3,000 room hotels. They don't know how to get back in the water right now and how soon they're going to get, but a small, nimble, little pilot fish, a little school of herring, they just go where they can feed. And the small local restaurant scene is going to bounce back a lot faster, I think, than the big strip restaurant scene.
Yep. They'll come in with new concepts. The talent pool, as I was talking to Nicole the other night, is amazing at the moment.
Oh yeah. And lots of good chefs looking for work. Well, this is, I don't want to get too food nerdy on you. This is what spawned the original restaurant boom of the early 1800s in France and Europe because of the French Revolution. They lopped off the heads of all the rich people that had all these great chefs and patisserie chefs and everything working in castles and private homes. Suddenly you had an entire class of good cooks looking for work. And you know what they did? They started making pâtés and roast duck and serving it on the street corners. And that's what actually invented the modern Western restaurant.
So after the revolution, when you were a downtrodden Frenchman, you were able to go get some duck confit. Is that what we're saying?
Exactly. And there was always a foie gras seller on the corner with foie gras popsicles like Jose Andres does. Another place that's booming right now, Bazaar Meat and Haleo. I've been in both Bazaar Meat and Haleo in the last few months, and I was in both times midweek, and I thought the crowds were pretty impressive in both of them, and they're like on a Wednesday night.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And so and I think the one other place you mentioned because of the other closures, Guy Savoy.
Yeah. Well, if you've got if you got a car payment for a meal.
You want to break out the American Express Black Card.
Yeah. I love Guy Savoy. It's one of the great restaurants in the world,
Yeah.
and it's in our backyard, folks. But yeah, a dinner for two will be a car payment, or maybe 2 car payments. That's what it kind of comes to. But if you want to do it upright, but it's a special big deal meal restaurant. But again, I've been there twice over the summer, and I was blown away that they were busy, and they kind of have that haute cuisine, fancy meal territory to themselves right now. And the GM told me that, yeah, he said, we get people from coming here from Bellagio, MGM, all kinds of other hotels, because if you want to go really have a blowout meal in Vegas right now, we're it. Le Cirque's closed, Robichon's closed. Yeah,
absolutely. So, John, it looks like not all gloom and doom. I mean, there's still mass trauma to the industry, to the city itself, but we're seeing some new shoots coming out here. And so, John, I appreciate the 411. The other couple of little tidbits. John, this is probably your favorite week as well as mine. Normally, we're sitting on the couch there on Father's Day weekend, but it's the last week of September, and we're watching the U.S. Open.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I love to watch pros battling for to make even par on a round, rather than shooting 7 under every time they walk onto a golf course. And man, I love the U.S. Open. It's going to get tough now, man. It was easy yesterday, but watch the next 3 days. I still think 2 over is going to win the tournament. 2 or 3 over.
I don't think.
Who's your favorite?
I'm a bit of a Justin Thomas fan. I mean, I like his game.
He's a great kid. I like Xander Schauffele, or an old guy, Louis Oosthuizen. But there's probably 30 guys right now who could win the tournament, and and they all know they can win it. So it's going to be really interesting to watch.
Exactly. The player talent pool. It's like, okay, your A squad, your B squad, even your C squad. You're just going to wait a minute. It could be an all-star game.
Well, I know, and I know I'm running out of time, but you look at the players, and then these guys come over from the European tour that they used to be second class and third class, but no one's even heard of them, and they're on the leaderboard. You know what I mean?
Fleetwood.
Tommy Fleetwood, Rafa Cabrera Bello.
Yep.
I mean, there's some really Tomas Peters, some really good European players. I like to watch them on the European tour. So golf, to me, is great. One of these days, you and I are going to get on a course, and you can whip my ass, Cramer. Okay.
That's quite all right. Well, as you kind of mentioned, John, we're kind of the men in blazers here.
Yeah. Men in blazers. We should be talking about fuck off.
Talking about the pitch.
The pitch and all, kick to the left, kick to the right, kick to the left, kick to the right, kick to the left, kick to. Oh, that's soccer. Yes, that is.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's like kind of watching a bunch of cats kind of moving around on a...
Yeah, I know. Apparently, it's supposed to be elegant, graceful, and very tactical. And I just look at it like, when are they going to score a goal? Sometime in the next 2 hours. Something exciting will happen.
And for our European friends watching in, they're just going to go, oh, God, these Americans.
Yeah, okay, just write us off. We're a couple of Luddites. We're a couple of heathen pagans.
Troglodytes.
Troglodytes.
With fine palates, nonetheless.
With fine palates, exactly.
So,
Done.
Well, John,
great talking to you.
Pleasure as always. Thanks for joining in. I know you've got a busy schedule today. Thanks for the update. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to today's episode of Coffee with Cramer and Colleen. I'm Don Cramer with the Cramer Group. More now than ever, your real estate experience matters. So tune in if we can help you out. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bon appetit. Bye-bye.